Yo, what's going on, guys? It's going to be on over today's trade recap. Yesterday I wasn't really able to trade. Loki felt a little bit sick yesterday, so I just called it a day. There was a really nice continuation setup though that did present itself yesterday. I'm pretty sure it was off of market open, if I'm not mistaken. What's this? Hold on. Yeah, it was just like 5 minute continuation. Sponsored 5 minute gap continuation. Really simple, clean stuff. A plus. Yeah, the entry was either right here on this 1 minute CISD and 30-second inversion, or it was on the 1 minute inversion fully. If you did end up taking the 1 minute inversion on this, you would have gotten break even. If you ended up taking the CISD, you would have smashed full TP. So yeah, but I'm not going to really do much on that because I didn't really trade that day, or well, I did technically, but I just wasn't really, I got off super early. I wasn't really feeling it, so called it a day. But anyway, let's get into today's price action and the trade that I ended up taking today, and I ended up making around $450 today, day trading the nasdaq, and by taking a short, which had a great narrative behind it. So overall, coming into the morning, I was pretty bullish on the higher time frame. Overall, as you can see, we're just delivering from 4 hour gaps higher and higher and higher and higher, and we are in all-time high conditions. However, the reason why I ended up taking a short today is, again, as I already said, the narrative for the short was just fantastic. So cool. Let's go into market open. I could also see a reason for us being bearish or making a move lower, I should say, because we did have an unfilled 4 hour gap lower here. We also have like a huge new week opening gap down lower as well. So there is reason for us to move lower. So obviously I'm never hard stuck a certain bias coming into the day. It's always a leaning. So cool. Market ends up opening lower here, and we end up kind of just ripping lower, right? And at this point, we ended up leaving a 15-minute for value gap. I think two of them up above right here, and we were also forming a 30-minute, or we had a 30-minute fair value gap forming as well on both assets, right? So with that in mind, this is when we ended up getting presented with this short setup. So there was this original short setup here, which was a pretty like, I don't know, it's kind of greedy in my opinion. And the manipulation on this trade is definitely not good. It's simply just a 5 minute retrace. The only way I could see the short being technically valid from a discretionary point of view was if you just felt like today was going to be like a falling knife. But again, that is sort of just gambling in a sense, and you're kind of just guessing if it's going to be a falling knife or not. And this did technically show that there was a huge chance that it could have been a falling knife, though. So overall, I do not think this trade was bad. I'd probably rate this trade like B. Yeah, probably like B. A B. It's a 2 minute inversion off of a 5 minute, targeting the range low and the external draw being the hourly range or the internal low down here, and also until 4 hour. But again, at that point, I just wasn't a fan of this manipulation. This manipulation definitely wasn't enough for me. And gladly, of course, we ended up fading that trade, which ended up resulting in an unnecessary, or us avoiding an unnecessary loss. There you go. Lacked a bit of English there. But 10 a.m. ends up opening higher here. So what's the beautiful thing about this is we have that 10 a.m. PO3, which is just fantastic. As you can see, we're generating liquidity here. 10 a.m. ends up opening higher here into this unfilled 15-minute for value gap, which we have. And at this point, I'm also pretty sure that the S&P 500, yeah. So I also ended up fading a move here as well, which I'm going to go over this move, right? So I end up fading this move here originally because the S&P 500. I don't think this is fine. This displacing candle right here, this 1007 entry is not bad. Don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure there's a 30-second within here as well. But the problem with this is that ES is after leaving triple equal highs at your stop loss with an unfilled 30-minute fair value gap, which is a problem, right? I don't want that at my stop loss, especially when I'm trading funded. And if this was an eval, I probably would have slapped 3 minis on this trade because this has had a really clean narrative behind it, right? Generated liquidity prior to 10 a.m. 10 a.m. manipulates into the unfilled gap. But ES just failed to manipulate into that gap. So when it came to 1016, coming up here, right here, this is when the S&P 500 ended up re-sweeping that high, having a stop hunt inside of that 30-minute for value gap, and taking out this liquidity here, this low poor resistance liquidity that we had here, and then actually generating high resistance here. So at this point, we had an SMT internally. Oh my god, this is like low-key looking back at this. I didn't even think about it this much in the moment. This is like one of the most beautiful trades you can sort of get, right? We're generating liquidity here. We have an SMT internally within this range. We are respecting C of this range. It's a new range that we have. We are also leaving a huge rejection wick from a 5-minute fair value gap. And look at this next candle that just solidifies or a loss. Next candle. Thank you. There we go. This next candle, that is just like complete disrespect to the downside, just slamming to the downside here, and just showing that this bearish narrative is really, really holding strong. We have the internal SMT, we have true manipulation, we have a stop hunt, we have a low resistance generated towards our target, we have an unfilled 4 hour below, we have everything, we have the range low down here. Like, this was just S tier, right? This is like a really, really, really clean continuation model. I have my stop loss around here, and I was simply just targeting the low with this here. So this is my entry right here, and break even for this trade. Now, this is just something that I've noticed from journaling. A lot of people would have went break even here because we're told to go break even at the internal low a lot of times. This low to me was just genuine straight bullshit, though. I'm not gonna lie. Like, this low is inside of no key level, not even a lower time frame for a value gap. This was literally just low resistance building up to a target, so I decided not to go break even here. I ended up going break even once we had like a little bit of a mess around here, and then we ended up like delivering strongly to around here. Oh, get off this magnet, bro. But around like right here. At this point, the S&P 500 also took the internal low, so I just decided to move my stop loss to break even there. But it didn't matter, because in that same candle that I did move my stop loss to break even, I did end up hitting take profit on this trade. And this trade runs all the way down to the 4 hour gap right here, wicks the 4 hour gap, and then I think makes it run to the upside again. And that's pretty it. That's pretty much it. Pretty simple day, and kind of a falling knife. Just an excellent setup presented itself. And true manipulation, internal SMT, stop hunt, beautiful displacement, respected range, and we also entered a low volume node on this 30-minute fair value gap up here on the S&P 500. This is where all the low volume was inside of this 30-minute fair value gap. So seeing that getting manipulated into, it was just extremely blatantly obvious to me, especially when we had this displacing candle at 1021, that range low was 100% the least that we would go to. And that was like a very, very strong target for me. Super convicted on this trade, very confident, and yeah, we just entered, executed, done, got off the charts. Amazing stuff. Great trade. The only problem actually with today was I slightly under risked. I meant to risk $450 to $500 on this trade. I only ended up risking around $350. Reason for that is because I kind of had like my measuring tool here in mind to like give me a set risk, and then we sort of had this Diddy candle, so I didn't have enough time to really check what my risk was going to be. I kind of just presumed it was around 55, 60 points, so I just entered with 4 micros, but this was definitely a 5 or 6 micro trade, realistically a 5 micro trade, and that would have made me around $550, $600-ish. So, but anyway, that doesn't matter. Is what it is. It's just a little small, whatever. But yeah, that's going to wrap up today's video on the trade that I ended up taking today. And yeah, that's really it. Nothing really else to say about that. And if you guys took anything today, leave it in the comments below. Always interested to hear what you guys are taking. Or yeah, if you have any questions, also leave that in the comments below. If you have any questions for me personally, my TikTok, Instagram, and Discord will be in the bio of this video, so you can go check those out. Give me a follow on one of those pages, or shoot me a DM, and I'll 100% respond if it's anything that's to do with trading related. And yeah, except for that, I hope you guys have a blessed rest of your day, and I will catch you guys in the next video, which will be tomorrow's recap. So have a great rest of your evening, and peace out.